Good afternoon and welcome to the November 17th, 2023 special virtual policy management committee meeting of Montgomery County Board of Education. I'm Rebecca Smondrowski, represent District 2, and I'm the chair. And I will start off with introducing my colleagues.
All right, I can go ahead. My name is Sammy Saeed. I'm the student member of the Board of Education and very happy to be here today.
Brenda Wolf, District 5.
Shebra Evans, District 4.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Ms. Webb, if you want to introduce staff, that would be great.
Sure, we have staff, and I'll just pass it off. I'm Lori Christina Webb. I'm the Chief of Staff for the board, and I am going to pass it to Leslie to introduce herself and our team.
Good afternoon, Leslie Turner Percival, Legal Director in the Office of General Counsel. Sally?
I'm Sally Davis, the Supervisor of Policy and Regulations in the Office of the General Counsel.
Okay, is that everybody?
Passing to, I think that's, I'll pass to Heather.
Hi, good afternoon. Heather Dublinsky, Executive Director in the Office of the Chief Operating Officer.
Great.
Dana?
Good afternoon, Dana Edwards, Chief District Operations.
Good afternoon, Kat Malchody, Executive Director in the Office of District Operations.
Is that everyone? Okay, sorry. I can't see everybody on my screen, so I apologize in advance. If anyone has anything to interject at any point, please feel free to, unmute yourself and speak up. We are here today to kind of quickly review the school calendar proposals that have been sent out for public comment and are now back to the policy committee for review, alterations, approval to move forward to the full board at our next board meeting in an effort to be able to vote on next year's calendar. I'm going to start off by turning it over to Ms. Dana Edwards and allow her to begin.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Mondrowski. And if we go to the slide deck, I would like to just take us to the third slide in terms of our conversation for today, to really think about where we are in the process. And as Ms. Mondrowski said, we're here to go to the third slide and take a look at the feedback that we have received today in terms of public comments. Ms. Malchody, if you'd like to share those, a summary of those comments with the committee, and then we can talk about the calendar that we've seen the most energy.
Next slide, please. We will look at instructional needs and operational impact as we develop the calendar. We always want to ensure that we're focusing on continuous and quality instruction for students and maximizing attendance and operational success. As we go through this process, we are in phase 2. As we do that, we continue to be intentional in planning for anti-racist and culturally responsive communication and engagement, so we can ultimately transform the experiences and improve outcomes for our students. Next slide, please. In phase 2, we have created a second survey in a similar style, very user-friendly with images, to get feedback on drafts. We have also continued with our social media campaign, which you may have seen. And in this phase, we've tried to, in addition to some of our more creative engagement opportunities, we've tried to do some different ones. And so what you'll see is that I was able to attend a food market, food pantry at one of our elementary schools. I had a student translator with me, and we walked around the outside while people were waiting in line, and we talked to them about the calendar. We also went inside and talked to some people about the calendar, and it was really great to do that with a student. And I got to meet her mom, and she was fantastic. And it was just a really nice way to meet people in a space where they already were going to be. They invited me back next week, so I'm very excited about that. And we continue to look for different ways to engage with families in, sort of ways we haven't thought of. And we're really proud of that work, and we hope to continue that work in all of the aspects of community engagement. Next slide, please. Here you can see the current results. It's actually up to 8,600 as of 5 minutes ago when I checked. The survey's been open for about a little over a week. We can see from the survey, the biggest question that we asked was this idea of, the before Labor Day, after Labor Day, calendar A or calendar B. You can see where that data is trending. We will continue to have this survey out for the next 2 weeks or so. And, we always look at the results in terms of those questions and the evidence of equity. Who's missing from the conversation? How can we access voices that are not there? And so as we always are excited when we see the number of responses, we really want to think about how we engage our entire community and make sure that people are represented as they are in the community. Next slide, please.
So the survey just shows you just some of that data as we move to look at the calendar that has gained the most energy. A couple of other things that we heard from people that we just like to elevate for Policy Management Committee, talked about the start and end time of the year. There was also conversation in the feedback around the placement of professional days, and I'll highlight one of those additional considerations for PMC today, and really thinking about the need and benefit for those PD opportunities, the limiting disruption to families, and then the consideration around longer breaks and extended breaks that benefit some, but maybe don't benefit others. So as we go to
Ms. Edwards, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but for purposes of clarity, am I to understand that you are recommending calendar A? And so our discussions today, I just want to check with my colleagues. Do either of my colleagues have any of my colleagues have any objection to us looking at calendar A as the recommendation to the full board?
No,
No.
I support that. Thanks.
Okay. Ms. Evans?
No objections.
Mr. Said?
No objections here.
Okay, great. So just going forward for public understanding and lack of confusion, we will only be discussing calendar A options today.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Mandrowski.
Sure.
So with calendar A, there were a few things that I just wanted to highlight for Policy Management Committee to know in terms of what we've heard in the feedback. And if we look at that slide that states additional considerations, which is the next slide, in October and November, there are a couple of things just to highlight. One piece of feedback, if we look at the end of October on October 31st, we have that as a grading day and end of quarter day. We've heard feedback that should possibly be a school day because many schools have fall festivals and or students who celebrate Halloween are engaging in that practice on that day and like to come to school. But if you look at November, you'll also notice that in November, on November 5th, that is an election day. So the consideration around October 31st, which is also aligned with Diwali as one of our religious observances, being considerate of should we keep that on October 31st or possibly shift that day to be able to really mitigate some operational impacts that we might have because of student absences and staff absences as well. The second consideration on this day, and this is calendar A as well, is around the 10/16 professional day that's stated there. What we have heard is that on October 18th, that is the day for the State Teachers Conference on that day. And so being considerate around should that professional day be shifted to be able to accommodate that the ability for our teachers to be able to attend the State Teachers Conference, recognizing that we have used that first professional day within Montgomery County over the past 2 years to really be able to do district-wide PD around the anti-racist audit findings and really bring coherence into the system. And then the last thing that's not associated with this, just so that the committee knows, The third larger piece of feedback we have heard is around June 6th. June 6th, in the next calendar year, June 6th is identified as the religious observance of Eid al-Adha. And that is a day, as you know, we have used our calendar to think about when we have professional days and align those with many of our religious observances. So I wanted to bring that to PMC's attention as we garnered that feedback, and just for you to know. But our recommendation to you, and you've accepted, is calendar A is the one that we move forward to the board. Okay. So I want to open it up for any discussion or recommendations from this team.
So I'll start off and then I'll open it up to my colleagues. I am going to recommend that we move the Professional Development Day on October 16th to the 18th. I know years ago we used to, and I think it was a lot of years ago, but we used to have those conferences as part of our considerations for our Professional Development Day. I do know that you and I discussed some potential larger considerations that may need to be taken into account in terms of the overall professional development for all of our staff. However, I am going to recommend, so I'll leave that up to my colleagues to approve or not approve. And the only other, two other things. So as far as the October 31st date, I am supportive personally, and I'll hear from my colleagues, of moving that day to November 1st. I have heard for many years how much kids and families appreciate them having school on Halloween Day and being off the day after. A lot of, particularly older students go out together and, in groups, spend the night at friends' houses and things like that. And I do think that that's, something that's become a bit of a tradition. And the 1 or 2 years where we didn't do it, I definitely heard a lot of negative feedback from that. And just for clarification, though, Diwali Day, the 31st is the first day of it, but it's 5 days, correct? So we could still consider November 1st a recognition of Diwali as well.
It is a multi-day observance. One of the critical parts that we do is we do work with many of our, we have an external calendar committee where we can discuss this with, and we have many members of interfaith groups that are on there. So I'd like to bring that back to them.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's just something to think about, and we can, my colleagues can weigh in now, and it's again, something we can finalize with the full board later. The last thing that I had was on June 6th. I do believe that holiday doesn't begin until sundown. Is that correct?
So when I benchmarked with the other districts, I saw that a lot of them had it noted for sundown. So I reached out to some of my colleagues and some of the people on my external committee who are familiar with that holiday and who are a part of some of those advocacy groups. And it was explained to me that that is not the case. And it starts early in the day. And so that would not be.
So having a half day would not. Okay. Good to know. So at this point, I'll just open up to my colleagues, hear what they have to say, and we can go from there. So I apologize about the dog barking.
This is Shebra. I forgot you can't see us. So I was going to jump in. I'm okay with I know we were just talking about it starting at sundown, but I would just think from what I've heard in attending various events that they do start earlier. And so I would respect that day being completely off and just associate with Mrs. Shmondrowski. I'm fine with the 18th of October. Was it October? Not the 16th, but the 18th of October, and then November the 1st.
Okay.
Thank you. And just thank you just for going back and doing the due diligence to find out from other counties, what that looks like. And then also just making certain that we're supportive of our staff trying to get professional development. Yep. So that's all I want to say. Thank you.
I too support moving the date from October the 16th to October the 18th to allow our teachers to attend the state conference.
Mhm.
I am additionally supportive of moving the 31st to the 1st. That was a big consideration for me this year,
Yep.
that the day after Halloween was off, because as you know, I have a grandson and I was out with him for a little while and I could barely move the next day. It was cold out there. I would like to see what we could do on June the 6th. So I would like to hear further from our community what they're thinking about on that date. Thank you. And thanks for your work on this.
Yes. Mr. Saeed?
Yes, I would like to associate myself with the comments made previously. I strongly support moving the date from October 31st to November 1st. Time and time again through social media, students are telling me, can we get the day after Halloween off? Can we get the day after Halloween off? Ms. Mondrowski is 100% correct when she says that people are going out that night, staying up late. School is just not possible that next day. And I think that'd be really, really helpful. And also I would support on the day of Eid, which I know is a full day celebration, to have that day off. That is something I've continually heard, especially from the Arab and the Muslim community. And I think that's something that, we should definitely try and commit to, because I think it is a big day. And I think, as we know, we can't acknowledge what a professional day may be, but I think it'd be helpful to have that day off to support that community and to support those families, just as we do with many other days. So, I fully support that. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Great. So sounds like we have full agreement on moving the 16th to the 18th and moving the 31st to the 1st. I am very supportive of the June 6th, issue. But I do want to say that I struggle with supporting moving the last day of school from Friday, the 13th of June to Monday, the 16th of June. So before you come to the full board, if you could look at some other opportunities rather than pushing the school year back a year in order to accommodate June 6th, I would be very appreciative of that.
Absolutely. We'll take a look at that and discuss it on the 5th.
Okay, great. So unless my colleagues have anything else that they want to add, I'm going to make a motion that we move this calendar A with its currently agreed upon edits to the full board for consideration on December 5th. All in favor? Mr. Saeed?
Yes.
I can see this. Okay, good. I'm like, I can see Ms. Wolf and Ms. Evans, but I can't see you. Okay, well, that's unanimous. And I do believe that's all we have for this committee meeting today. So if no one has anything else, I will add my thanks, my tremendous thanks for all of the work that you've done on this and the incredible amount of community outreach, outside of the box thinking, and over the top, well, not over the top, but extraordinary efforts that you made to reach out to communities that haven't been, aren't frequently heard from, and really get as much feedback and consideration as absolutely possible. So thank you all very much for that. Thank you for your time today and for meeting on short notice. And I will move to adjourn.
Thank you.
I don't know if I need to vote on that or not, but
So, yeah, we're all in agreement. Enjoy.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Right.
Enjoy the
Thank you so
holiday.
much.
Thank you,
have a
everyone.
wonderful
Great
weekend and a
one.
great Thanksgiving.
Enjoy your
everybody.
That's right.
holiday.
Great Thanksgiving.
You too.